Hi everyone, it's Zeno here, and today I'm going to type D&D. But more importantly, I got the Doomfletch's Prism Champion. Without too much explaining before we show off how the build functions, I have a 6-link automatically from Shroud of the Lightless, which is one of the best, if not the best chest piece for this build. Loreweave is comparable, but this guy gives level 20 Ellie pen, and considering all of my damage is Ellie, 25% being fire, 25% being lightning, and 50% being fire. This happens to be a really good chest piece. Doomfletch's Prism is the bow. Consider it the flat fizz scaling, the face breaker of bows. It's one of those type of gimmicks, and it's so fun. This is my first YouTube video of 2019. And Syndicate, as you guys know from the past month, has been pretty absurd. So I went full tank pretty much. My first 3 points are all tank nodes. In fact, I don't get any melee damage. I only get a little bit of attack speed. But I'm immune to stun with 2600 flat armor just from this pathing. You got 2k here if you have iron reflexes, and then you got yourself these little guys here to scale it. Permanent Fortify, immune to stun while you have Fortify, 10% increase attack speed while you have Fortify, and of course, what Fortify does, 20% reduced damage taken from hits. Take an additional 6% reduced damage taken if I've taunted, and some bonus damage with hits can't be evaded. A majority of my damage comes from jewels, so that's what's up, and I'll discuss that after we do a quick map. So I'm 91, and I've currently farmed the highest tier content this guy has seen is tier 11. Again, this is hardcore Betrayal, and Betrayal, as some of you know, is pretty damn rippy. So I'm going to showcase just a tier 9. Let's do a Glacier Map, Shaped Glacier. This is a good one, right? Perfect. Let's just run it. While this is loading, I'm going to dump this in my quad tab. Man, Glacier is such a nice map. So I have Aspect of the Spider. I ended up finding a ring, and it's pretty damn good. It's an opal ring with Aspect of the Spider. Got it from a Syndicate farm. Pretty happy about it too, nonetheless. I'm using in a separate 5-link another Blast Rain with Mirage Archer. So my main skill is Blast Rain, and I decided to use it just because it gives 100% of my physical converted to fire. I can't do this just yet. Which is actually quite nice, considering how I don't have to wear a pair of gloves or use physical to lightning or go avatar fire. I don't have to do any of those shenanigans. It's just put on Blast Rain, you're fully elemental. Not only that, but Blast Rain gives you a hefty amount of fire penetration on top of converting 100%. So half of my damage is fire now with Doomfletch's Prism, and that extra fire pen is quite nice. Alright, so this is Shaped Glacier. This is a tier 9 map, and considering like 3 out of 4 of my Ascendancy nodes don't even give any damage, and I just took off Resolute Technique from my Uber Lab, this is a pretty good build. I don't even have Elemental Overload yet, and I'm excited to get that skill soon enough. There is one major downside to this build, is if a map has monsters are immune to taunt or cannot be taunted, that kills my damage and my accuracy. I would have to spec into Resolute Technique for one of those maps. I mean, I could do it, it's just less than desirable. I lose out on quite a bit of damage and tankiness.
It's over, Leo.
There you go. What are we gonna do here? Already max rank. Let's just throw Hillick in jail. He's okay in transportation. You can go to jail.
Reckon Leo can take a beating?
Nope.
I love a bit of violence.
Nope. I'm gonna leave those two there. When 2 3-stars get competitive with each other, you just run away. The reason I'm throwing Hillick in jail is I need him in fortification, and might as well just get some intel out of him. Excuse me, YouTube. So, if you guys don't know, I'm broadcasting this live on Twitch. Twitch is my main social media platform. I've been partnered now with Twitch going on 5 years, and I do YouTube videos primarily to get you guys to come and watch my live stream. So, consider yourself sold to and advertised to. But not subliminally, I'm freaking telling you. So if you guys want to see more of this content, stop by to Twitch, and I'll gladly explain anything you need the build to be broken down more. And I also have some links below. So let's go into the theory of this build. Woo. So first things first is you have Fortify, which is amazing. As a bow, you can only get this from the Vigil support. There has to be a support on your team running the Vigil and then running Vigilant Strike. Sure, it'll give you like a 35-second Fortify, but if they DC, they're not here, or you're waiting for them, you don't have Fortify. So you have Fortify as a champion, and that's pretty damn good for Syndicate. It's just raw 20% reduced damage taken, and it stacks nicely with the Taunt node, which is another 6% right here. Whenever I taunt someone, I get 6% reduced damage taken, as well as 2% life regen. If I have a totem down, I can also take an additional 10% less damage. But anything I personally taunt, I don't get that benefit from. But my party members do, so I'm naturally supporty. On top of that, anyone I taunt, I get hits can't be evaded. So if I open up with a Enduring Cry, it's pretty nice. Everything has got that immediately, and then I could go to town. Or the chances are with Blast Rain, my attack speed, it's going to hit. And then once that happens, we're good to go. So this allows me to go Elemental Overload, which I have not gotten yet. And in one level I can. I have a couple respec shenanigans I could pull off. Like I have this extra Leech node. I have an extra AoE node. So I could just, you know, take those two out next level and go EO if I wanted to. So another damage multiplier. Until I had my Uber Lab node Worthy Foe, I picked up Resolute Technique, and it was absolutely worth it. You know, it's the same damn thing. Hits can't be evaded, hits can't be evaded. I just need to be able to crit, so I could proc Elemental Overload. With this guy, you cannot crit, so until you have Uber Lab, it'll serve just fine. Fortify was my Cruel Lab. I started off with Inspirational, just for the movement speed to clear faster, and then I swapped over to Fortify at Cruel. Then I went up here in Merciless and here in Uber. This guy right here, Master of Metal. I know someone's going to ask about it in YouTube. It's been asked about on Twitch. You and nearby allies deal 4 to 8 physical damage for each impale on an enemy, which is nice for Doomfletch. If you're dealing physical damage and if monsters survive. This is okay against bosses and like essence mobs, but most mobs die, so they lose their impale and you don't get the flat fizz. Secondly, you have to deal physical damage to impale. So running Blast Rain, I can't even do it. I have 100% elemental conversion from Blast Rain, so I can't even pick up Master of Metal if I wanted to. And if I were to pick up Master of Metal, I would probably have to go Inspirational and go with Banners. And then Banners aren't really that effective when I permanently have Fortify. Adrenaline's okay, but monsters, they take extra physical damage. I'm not dealing any physical damage, so kind of wasted. And then the boosted Fortify, again, I already have Fortify, so I felt like going Banners really wasn't worth it. You can wear Haste Aura with Inspirational and get a lot of zoomies, so that is an option if someone wants to play a bow champion. It's still good, like, it's still good. And this is good for permanent, like, a lot of, like, pure physical builds. This I would recommend. Like, Facebreaker, Cyclone, no conversion, go. Pillar of the Cage God, Spectral Throw. Weird build, but it would work well with this, you know? Things along those lines. But for Doomfletch, you want to convert all to elemental damage because of how strong Shroud of the Lightless is, giving level 20 Ellie Pen. If you look here at my Blast Rain, let's see. I have 44 Lightning, 44 Cold, and 69 Fire Pen. That's pretty good for a freaking champion. Like, that alone is really hard to get for a champion. So I'll take it. And Shroud also gives you another Jewel. So Jewels give you flat physical, and because this bow scales really well with flat fizz, think of it like Facebreaker, but instead of Facebreaker being at 800%, it's at 400%. But Facebreaker also has 32 to 82 physical, and you can also get physical from your quiver, which you can't do with Facebreaker. Not to mention, because I'm wearing a weapon, unlike Facebreaker, which is unarmed, I also get flat fizz from chance to bleed. So Facebreaker with 400% instead of 800%, but I get a ton of physical literally everywhere that you cannot get as unarmed. I'm pretty happy about this build, considering I love to play flat fizz scaling builds or builds that have the heirloom item effect. You know, those level as you go weapons that you never take off. I love that concept, and I think Doomfletch's Prism fits quite nicely into it. My build tree is quite simple. If you guys want to take a look at a link below, in the comments section. I go for standard multipliers. Because I'm in melee range, point blank serves nicely. I get a good amount of mana and life leech. You can even go full vitality void if you want to. That's entirely up to you. And then Iron Reflexes is great pairing with the first Fortify node we have here, because you get flat evasion. And any type of evasion source, you know, like this chest piece, this helmet, hell, even Tomb Fist, I've converted straight to armor. And now my chance to evade is 5%. So what does this mean? Some people say, why not just go Unwavering Stance? Well, Unwavering Stance is not needed because I'm immune to stun while I have Fortify. So actually keeping this evade is fine. Wearing Comb's Roots is bad. It does not make sense in this build. Don't do it. If you're used to it, time to break the barrier and make something else work. So getting 5% chance to evade means I could still evade, which means monsters that are blinded from Stibnite Flask is like getting 50% chance evade. So instead of 5, it's 55 against a blinded monster. And there's other ways to get pseudo evasion like that through blinding or pantheons or uniques. So going Iron Reflexes, you could still get static chance to evade if you lower monster accuracy by blinding them, or just lowering their accuracy via Enfeeble. So I lower monsters at accuracy via Enfeeble, so my chance to evade is much higher than 5%, because monsters just don't have any accuracy between blind and Enfeeble. Enfeeble, it works out quite nicely for this build because it lowers monsters' chance to crit, the damage they deal when they crit, it lowers their accuracy, and lowers their overall damage that they deal. Now, obviously, against unique monsters, the curse effectiveness is lessened quite a bit, but that's okay because I have Fortify. No other bow build gets Fortify. That's brilliant. We got 6% reduced damage taken if I've taunted recently, and then we have Enfeeble. Suddenly, Enfeeble on a boss is paired nicely with layered defense. So that's the option, I go there. I use Herald of Purity because it gives flat physical damage to attacks. I'm playing those type of builds. And then Aspect of the Spider is great because it hinders enemies, and it causes them to take bonus damage. Can't really beat that. It also reduces monster movement speed by 30%. So it's like a pseudo temp chains. So the rest of the build, I end up stacking a lot of flat fizz via jewels. If you see here, almost every single one of them has a little bit of flat physical. This guy's just got 5 to 9 and 2 to 6, and fire and lightning damage. It's just so much deeps. This one's just life, physical damage, and attack speed if I've dealt a crit, which I can deal now because I'm not RT. This thing is not going anywhere. Flat fizz onslaught, I suppose if I have open prefix, I do. No, it's open suffix I need. I can slap on life, so next exalt I find I'll have to slam that. Life, physical damage, armor, avoid shock, I guess that's okay. And then I go for the standard minion nodes because who doesn't like global damage scaling, right? 5 all pen, 3 all pen, which pairs nicely with my Shroud of the Lightless. If anybody likes this theory and idea, you could do Shroud of the Lightless with Doomfletch's Prism on an Elementalist. You can reserve your Herald of Purity as well as all 3 Elemental Heralds, because they're 25% less mana to reserve, and they're 25% more effective, which means you get all that extra flat fizz. All three of those Elemental Heralds are boosted, and they give 25 all pen to pair up with your, 30-something all pen from Shroud of the Lightless, as well as the 8 pen here that you could easily get as an Elementalist. 3 and 5. Like, Elementalist is like the highest damage you could probably get for this. Yes, Elemental Overload is something I'm going to be working into there. If you guys don't know, Twitch is asking questions here. Why Wolfie just says, are you getting EO? Next level I will be, because I need the point here, and then I'll do a respec out of a little bit of AoE, and then I will also respec out of a little bit of Leech down here. So that's my Elemental Overload node at 92. So, an extra multiplier. Considering I have 3 Ascendancies that don't deal any damage, and I could still pull off pretty decent damage in hardcore mapping, just because of how strong flat physical scales with this weapon, it's just like a Facebreaker build. Stack defense, and then now you can make up for offense by just getting, gear. Aspect of the Spider. I got really lucky. I got this from a safe house. I had, what was his name, Jorgen in Intervention or something? No, not Intervention. Fortification. He dropped like 5 different aspect craft. So 2 ended up being good, a belt and a ring. The belt's on a studded belt though, wah wah. But I even corrupted it, nothing happened. So at least I got this, an opal ring. It's tolerable. It's got life. It's got a little bit of res. Got the aspect, damage and damage. Cannot complain. That's all I really got to say about this 91 Doomfletch's Prism Champion. More updates to come on this build, so stay tuned. I just wanted to get my first build guide out there. If you guys have any questions about this, you could stop by on Twitch and ask me. You can leave a comment below on YouTube. And I could do that generic thing where I tell you to like, subscribe, and send me all of your favorite pictures of SpongeBob via the internet. I personally like Patrick Star. Anyways, that's all I got to say. Thanks for watching. I'm out.